Hey, I'm Kevin Cole from KEXP Seattle. You can listen to us streaming 24/7 online at kexp.org. You can also watch thousands of our videos on our YouTube channel. I'm here at the Spot Festival in Aarhus, Denmark with Brimheim.
Sounded myself. tried hard at being hard enough. I still bruise so easily, like a fussy peach fallen from its tree. Big blue abrasion, blown hard calculating. Am I out of sync with you? I only think of you, I only think of you. Could I deserve this exquisite bliss? A crinkle at the corner of your eyes. I have a feeling, however fleeting, that this is really mine. Could I
Brimheim live on KEXP. That is some exquisite bliss there.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so
Call
much.
back. I
What
like
a wonderful performance.
Thanks.
And I love that last song. It's kind of, in a way, sort of a microcosm of the whole album.
Yeah, I'm glad you think so.
Yeah, it's
I
sort
think
of,
so too.
it ends the album and really kind of takes you on a journey. It's got all the vulnerable bits in the front end of it, and then has this sort of noisy transformation that kind of brings out some of your electronic side as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked ending the album with that song because it sort of just like points into the future, like the next album could be anything.
Absolutely. Well, since we're already jumping to the future, I was just going to say, man, in the last couple of years, subconsciously or not, we've all really learned to stop getting our hopes up too much.
Definitely.
But here we are at Spot. You're playing live. We're watching you live. It's amazing. And what are you optimistic about or hopeful for the future?
I think most things, actually. I think this is an affliction I have, that I am stubbornly optimistic.
Wow, what a great affliction.
Which you maybe wouldn't guess from listening to my record necessarily, but yeah, I believe that even though the world can sometimes seem extremely painful and unfair and terrible, that that we're moving towards better things all the time, and that we have a collective power to be able to transform our inner lives and also, the material world around us.
100%. Yeah, I love that. And it starts with ourselves individually, right?
Definitely.
And if we can remain optimistic and do what we need to do, we can contribute to a better world. And that's what really art and music's all about as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So the debut album came out in January. It's called Can't Hate Myself into a Different Shape. And I normally don't ask questions about album titles, but man, I love that title so much, and I really kind of respond to it. For me, it's really about acceptance, but I think it can mean a lot of things for different people.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's something that, as a title, everybody can relate to, and maybe it's kind of in part the struggles of the last couple of years, but I'm wondering what you were thinking about with that title.
I think definitely, like you mentioned self-acceptance, but like not frictionless self-acceptance. Like, I can't hate myself into a different shape doesn't necessarily mean that I haven't tried.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I guess it's a realization that, that is not an effective strategy.
There's so much beautiful vulnerability in the record. And, it's, as you mentioned, it's something that also, through that vulnerability, has a really positive outcome. But I'm wondering if it was a conscious decision on your part to be really kind of brutally honest as an artist and a songwriter, evaluating your own life to some extent, or if that just kind of happened. Is it something you've been working toward through your evolution as a songwriter?
Oh, I think so. Absolutely. I took a detour from that when I was in my early 20s, but at the same time, it's not something that I consciously think about when I write. It's more like that is sort of the purpose of the tool of songwriting for me, that I'm able to access these things that I'm actually quite bad at in my everyday life. Like, I put on loads of layers of, like, as we all do, facades, and, I'm fine, everything's great. I don't necessarily like getting into that sort of stuff, even with my closest friends. So songwriting is really a tool for me to be able to access that space, and actually enjoy being in it.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you don't like doing it in your personal life, but you're doing it very publicly, right?
That's weird, right?
Yeah, but maybe the art of creation and making music in a way allows for one to be that open.
Yeah, there's a layer of artifice there where, like, also, songs on the record is not necessarily, the narratives aren't necessarily like completely true stories from my diary. Like, there is a layer of constructing something and constructing a story And because of that layer of artifice, I can sort of get away with being more brutally honest and more frank in places because some of it is completely made up.
Yeah, and people might think, oh, that's not about her.
Yeah, I
When
mean,
it
or maybe they
100%
do
is.
think that, but I'm like, I don't know. There's just something about that filtration, like that poetic filtration that makes it easier to then access those things.
So you had an EP in the year 2020. The debut album you were able to write and produce during quarantine. And my understanding is the experience of creating the record in the studio is a really positive one.
Oh, yeah.
Yet prior to that, you were in a pretty dark space going into the studio and felt like you maybe didn't have the material. So tell me about the role of a kind of a trusted collaborator, or what happened to you in that process.
Yeah, I was really nervous. I went into this collaboration with Søren, who I produced the record with, and we didn't really know each other that well. And I was sort of at the tail end of a pretty deep depressive episode that I had been in. I'm sure lots of people can relate to that in the pandemic, just being stuck inside and feeling hopeless. And I had all these bits and pieces that I just recorded on my phone. Like I had made it a point for me to just try like 5 minutes, not every day, but every once in a while to try and write a song. And I felt like it wasn't anything, like I didn't have anything. But then this collaboration, I think Søren was really able to, like he didn't know what I was going through. Maybe he could tell from the music, I don't know, but it was just sort of as if through him and through that collaboration, that pretty like dark stuff and material transformed into something that might be useful to other people, something that was beautiful and something that was really life-affirming to finish. And having another person to bounce ideas off of and like feeling some kind of camaraderie with was very essential for that. Definitely.
It's interesting that you say that because the album's amazing. Yeah, it's spectacular, right? But when you're working in isolation, sometimes you don't know.
Yeah, not at all.
You don't know how to feel about the work you're doing or what.
Yeah, I get so bored with myself extremely quickly, like really quickly. After 5 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, this is crap.
Yeah, well, that's part of what's so amazing about being very honest, with your music is people can see themselves in it, not specifically what you're going through or you as an artist, but all of us individually have those moments in our life as well. So when you see somebody else in that space, then, you feel a whole lot less alone.
Yeah, I really hope that it has that effect. Like that's maybe more of a side effect than like a original intent, but definitely gathering these songs and making this into like a piece of work that's out there is very meaningful for me when people can kind of use it for something or see themselves.
Can you tell me about the role of music and the creative process in general for you as it relates kind of with the struggle of depression?
Sorry, can you ask that again?
Can you tell me about the role that music has for you, either as an artist or just a music fan, in, your struggle with depression or one's struggle with depression?
That's actually kind of like a deep question, I feel like, because part of what I struggled with this time that I had depression, it's not a new thing for me, was that I kind of lost touch with my interest in music, like, which is, I guess, also a pretty common symptom, but like I just didn't have an interest. And all that I was really able to do was those like 5 minutes every once in a while, like doing something, playing my guitar and singing something. And I felt so severed from that, which was a big, like, which I grieved very much, because that has always been previously when I've struggled in life, like such a healing and such a, comforting thing, like listening to, Radiohead albums or something like that when I was feeling really bad. And I just didn't, that connection was kind of severed, which I also think is why when I went into the studio and that was reignited, Søren, the producer, also introduced me to a bunch of new music. I was like, oh, all these references. And it kind of like, I remember biking to the studio when it started getting a bit warmer and like listening to some of the references that he sent me, and I was just like elated and I felt alive again. So yeah, that connection is so important to me.
It's cool. Well, maybe one takeaway there is just not giving up, right?
Right, definitely.
So even when you're at a low point, just to keep working, and even if it's, in your case, just getting a 3-minute little thing into a cell phone, turns, it's the seed of something that turns into something really beautiful.
Definitely. That's so important to remember, that it doesn't, like, you can't really trust your own judgment in that mind space. So just like to keep trying and keep doing stuff, and then later you might look back and be like, oh, I'm a genius. That was brilliant.
Well, you are a genius, and this is absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Totally
Thank you, Kevin.
love this record. Can't Hate Myself into a Different Shape is what it's called. Brimheim, thank you so much.
Thank
really
you.
excited for KEXP listeners to experience your music.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks so much for inviting me.
You bet.
Discover new music at kexp.org.